I, Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans, hereby command that you do not listen or subscribe to the Dragon Ball 4 Life podcast. Whatever you do, would you defy royalty? No! Bye!
But like, I know she's gonna see it and want it, but I can't give it to her right now. Your stomach's fucked up. Like, I'm sorry.
Already.
I know.
Man, I'm excited that we finally are doing this. This is cathartic for me, bro.
It's crazy that we're gonna be able to dive into
2.5 years later.
Yeah, it feels a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. Rachel was like, "Are you excited for your interview?" I was like, "I don't know. These two assholes, they're probably gonna throw the kitchen sink at me."
Look, man, I literally just took a swig of Hennessy before I sat down, so who knows what's gonna happen here.
I obviously was.
That's why I was.
You're two of the nicest people I've ever met.
That's why I was like 5:30, 5:45, because I know it'd probably be a longer one, and
I'm excited.
I'm an old man now, so I can't be up late these days. So.
Oh no, you good? Because I got to get to the mall at some point tonight before they close, so we good.
Bet.
We good. It's gonna be a good one. But are you gentlemen ready?
I am ready. I'm gonna let you guys get through the
man of honor. All right. Well, you hey, bro, you've edited enough of these. You know that these Friday intros is for the guests. It's not for us. You know, it's not for us.
What if Mikey will actually us as you said that?
I since Paul is the one who I'm gonna make edit this one. Hey, Paul.
Shout outs to Paul. Our guy Paul. Shout outs to Mikey and Paul.
He's gonna fuck up all your cuts. He's gonna give you like a hyper pitched voice and something.
Big facts. He said, "Well, actually, guys."
I said, Mikey, that's how you sound.
It's crazy, goof. Oh man, well, lifers, if you haven't realized, if we keep this in, if you haven't realized, we're excited about this one because we have a legend in the booth. We have the white whale, double entendre. Don't ask me how. for someone so
True
close,
double entendre.
For someone so close, he's been so hard to get to land for this Dragoncall interview. So what better way than to make him not only, the biggest Dragoncall interview to date, but the very first Dragoncall interview of 2024. But before we peel back the green curtain to, show you the man behind the magic, you know who we be. The Fusion Dance Dons, aka the Mon Gods, aka the deadliest backcourt in the podcasting industry. I go by the name of Bro G to the Prince of all sayings, Mr. Matthew Porter, aka Matty Ice, here with my counterpart, the Oob, to my Majin Buu, my den day one, going from the lookout to the cookout, Mr. Troto Trav. Talk to the people, Trav.
You know me. I stay chilling, and I love thy women like Krillin.
He does.
Well, Matt, it was hilarious though that you said, we've been trying to get him on for the longest time, and we talk to him every single day.
That's what I'm saying. So close yet so far. So close yet so far. But when you're the man that is responsible for controlling the annals of time for all things Star Wars and Dragon Ball related, a holocron, a human holocron, if you will, a man that is so wise, wisdom that is so legendary that you would be at a opera house sitting next to a would-be mentor turned bad guy, and he would ask you if you've ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Ladies and gentlemen, lifers of all ages, we have the one, the only. Shout outs to super producer Mikey, Giru, super producer Mikey. Snaps all around. Snaps all around.
I feel so honored. I'm Milwaukee.
We finally got you in here.
The white whale. I know that was a fat joke. Thanks, Matt.
It was a Moby Dick joke, Man's didn't get engaged for no reason, got the hammer on him, you know what I'm saying?
How about Matt channeling his inner Stephen A by being like, "Oh, annals of time." He's a
you see me?
All right.
I had to borrow borrow one of your aliases, bro. You know, saying A Smith. Had to take it from you real quick. You know, give for a little test drive. Had to try it out. So Mikey, first question: what took you so long to get here?
That's a great question.
He really don't bang with us,
right? It's all for the pod.
The deadliest backcourt in the podcasting game right now. It's a little intimidating to be here with two of these amazing people. No, just in reality, I think you guys are fully aware of how busy we've been. We're grinding. I've been grinding my whole life, but like us specifically,
all my life, grinding all my life.
Yeah, RP.
Shout out to Nip.
We've been pushing this project of ours heavily, and it's just a lot of work. So thanks for catching me with some free time on this glorious. I know this is coming out on a Friday because we control the schedule. But
you know,
I'll actually just leave it a mystery what day we're recording. They don't need to know.
Yeah, you got to check in with Bulma before you fire up the time machine.
Big facts, big facts. So obviously, for the people who support both our podcast endeavors, both Dragon Ball for Life and our sister podcast, Annie, are you okay? Say the line.
A Star Wars podcast.
Hey, there it is.
I never get to do that part.
Look, I know. Look, come on, dog. We do this, dog. What you talking about? So yeah, but those who are in the know, know that Mikey is our super producer who keeps us sounding crispy clean, no caffeine here on DB4L and our sister podcast. Annie, are you okay? Say the line.
A Star Wars podcast.
There we go. So we'll obviously get into your love of Star Wars, which we've talked about ad nauseum, both on and off mic. So, but I want to, we always say here, as you've edited a lot of these episodes, the easiest place to start is the beginning. And Sir Michael, what got you into your nerddom?
That is a great question. You guys are full of them, honestly. I'm thrilled to be getting all of these thrown at me because usually I'm the one editing them, but to be answering them is just a completely different ballpark.
Yeah.
But, we got to take it all the way back.
Hennessy and good vibes, baby. Hennessy and good vibes.
I think it was...
Name of this episode.
I think it was 1996 where I could form memories, maybe 97 when I watched Star Wars on Laserdisc in my uncle's basement. That's right. We're going like... format change here before VHS was the prime.
I was about to say, not even the official DVD, said a laser disc.
Laser disc.
In its infancy.
Flip them over middle of the movie. It really, it started there. Star Wars was always a huge part of my life, but I was your average like Saturday morning cartoon junkie. And it, I don't know if you guys remember, but like ABC Family back in the day, like
Beyblades, bro, Sonic X.
Oh yeah, exactly. Come on. That was 4Kids TV, Jetix. That was me. I was there.
Right with you, brother. Right with you.
But I was an early bird. I didn't catch the worm, but I caught my cartoons, and that is really, I think, could not get enough of. I was one of those people who, like, as much as I love Pokemon, I always thought Digimon was super underrated. And Matt talked about this
the GOAT
kind of ad nauseum, not on the pod, but it was that was a huge influence for me. I was a little late to Dragon Ball Z. Got to give credit to our GT producer Paul for getting me into that one, but I was reluctant. I didn't quite get it at first. I was like, these guys are just yelling at each other. And then I played Budokai, and I was like, I get it now.
You probably came in Frieza Saga during Namek when there was a lot of, disposition and talking. 5 minutes of a planet blowing up for 86 episodes.
A lot of talking, a lot of yelling.
I think that the big thing is, and I think Trav can relate to this, but I am a sucker for a character with a sword. And Trunks, like being introduced to the show was definitely like a inflection point for me. I was like, all right, I'm in. This guy's got a sword. Got purple hair. Let's go.
Let's get it. Let's get it for sure.
Matt knows my infatuation with Future Trunks, so we don't even need to.
I think everybody knows at this point. So Star Wars got you, into this worldwide, this the nerd world order, as we like to call it, the new NWO. What was Dragon Ball your first anime that that got you into the genre?
I've heard lots of guests on Dragon Ball for Life say that really the Pokemon was their first anime, and I feel like I have to give it like that. And then Digimon was, if we count, and I guess we have to, right? Like they're kind of like they're these
Digimon 1000% anime.
Yeah, so it's I think that those are my first two. Beyblade, I don't know. I feel like Beyblade was probably before. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh also kind of came out around the same time. And I think that sparked a whole different level of nerddom in terms of like card collecting. But I don't avidly do it anymore. But it was a huge part of, I think, my entire adolescence was playing trading card games. And so it all just like fueled this weird fire. I don't think that there was ever a point where I wasn't embracing my nerddom. This is something that I feel like it's super similar to anime, yet we don't talk about it nearly enough, even though I think we all have like a fondness for it. But Power Rangers was also a big part of my childhood, and I feel like
bro, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it was,
shout out to Dante. Crush on the Pink Ranger.
Shout out to Dante.
Who did
another Ranger for life.
Yeah. Shout out to Dante.
Kimberly.
I know we all could have like I think there was a point where we legitimately considered a third podcast around Power Rangers.
Yeah, that's a factual statement.
I think we were too busy to make that a reality.
I can confirm that to be true.
But yeah, like I think I like for show and tell at like kindergarten, I just constantly was bringing Power Rangers to school and be like, yeah, so this is a different one, but I like it just the same. And,
it's a different form.
It turned into a bit. Mikey was just like, guess what I got? They was like, oh, Power Ranger.
Yeah, switching it up this week though. Got a Ninja Turtle.
From the Power Rangers in Space episode.
Where they team up. Act like I don't know.
Yeah, look, I know you know, brother. I wasn't gonna throw a reference out there you ain't get.
You gotta be in the know to know, you know?
You know? You about to say something, Trav?
No, just commentary. just jumping in on the commentary. That's
I feel you. So we do have to. We actually were instructed to bring something up, and we'd be remiss if we didn't acquiesce to friend of the pod, creator of our dope intro and outro, Skylar, friend of both pods.
Yes, indeed.
Friend of both pods. But while doing the Dragoncall with Skylar episode, go back in the archives and listen. It was a banger. He mentioned a simpler time in your life where you were quite the singer. I've heard that you got quite the set of pipes, and we were told that we have to not only ask you about said time in life, but also encourage you to get out of retirement, because they said the man can hold a note, is what we hear. That's the rumor.
Back the Killer Tofu time.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, that man is no friend
Killer
of mine.
Tofu.
No, I'm just kidding. Love Skylar.
Noble.
So glad that he could provide us with like the literal, I think, identity of our podcast. I feel like started with the theme song. I think we all got infinitely more hype 100%. After we heard that, and we were like, oh, we got something here.
We off to the races, baby.
Yeah, my musical career was pretty short-lived. I can hold a note. For those who are, I guess, like that genre jump, I used to be in a metalcore band, which means I was doing a lot of screaming as well. I think I'm actually a better screamer than I am singer, but I only do that in the car and the shower from time to time. So
Skylar did actually make a point to say that like your scream singing is amazing. It was the verbiage he used, if my memory serves me correctly.
I still practice. Rachel's the only one who gets to hear it these days. Shout out to Ray the Ruiner.
The Ruiner.
We gotta have her secretly record you one time, and then
facts. I'm gonna put the request
sneak
in
the ball and be like, hey, here's our new intro.
Put this in the episode.
Throw this over the theme song.
Next time we're road tripping, if it's on in the car, that's the best time to catch me.
I know you got a mixtape around here somewhere, a little blank CD, with a Sharpie on it, like Sharpie on the side,
a CDR.
Hell yeah!
I don't like being caught, but I do have one.
Hey,
from my days with Skylar in our old man aesthetics, but I only bring it on special occasions.
As you, I mean, what's more special than a Dragoncall interview with your friends? Just saying.
Well,
but
one of us would have to have a working disk drive for us to get that.
I mean, you know,
yeah, might have to thrift for that or something.
I mean, it's 2024, baby. The world is our oyster. We can find one. It's like that episode of Cowboy Bebop where they had to go find the VCR to play Faye's tape. Her memory tape.
Right,
and they went in that abandoned electric place.
I've never seen Cowboy Bebop all the way through.
I was about to say any of it.
Brief moments of it. So I'm so many friends.
What are you waiting
That's
for?
in my top 5. I know, right? What am I waiting for?
Well, at least the good thing about it's short, so you at least like.
Yeah,
it's
one season. Yeah, one season. So it's like, you're not like, all right, now I'm committed and now I'm locked into this for forever.
Long time coming, but I'm almost done season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, so you know.
Bro, season 2 is crazy.
I still gotta watch season 2.
Yeah, I need y'all to hurry up.
I'm excited. I also heard the movie was dope as hell, so I can't wait to watch that.
Oh, I love it.
Oh yeah, the movie that's on that's also on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Also fire. And it helps understand shit for season 2, so definitely give that a whirl. It's not like one of those like you know how I feel about Vasta Stampede, but Into the Badlands has nothing to do with the show. like the movie. It's just a movie. It's like the My Hero movies. Like they don't really have any consequence to the main plot.
Yeah.
Well,
same with the Dragon Ball movies.
Tear up.
Yeah.
Besides the newer ones, but
yeah, right, bro. I think. Yeah, Broly, Resurrection, and Beer's are the only ones that are canon. Like all the other ones are just like
all the Z movies. It was just like, yeah, this you throw this somewhere in a timeline.
It's almost like they went.
We need to make some money this month. We need to make some money this month. Yo, that's actually facts, and that could turn into a conversation that we could get stuck on. They really could have made it very ambiguous where you could place it somewhere, but they definitely sit it in places where it wouldn't work. It's like they want you to no, it's definitely not part of the Dragon Ball Z. And it's just fun.
The crazy thing is it's like literally every single one of them has a problem with it that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, timeline problem. Yeah,
there's a timeline problem with every single Dragon Ball Z movie.
Yeah, like the cooler movies, Goku wouldn't have been back on Earth when he showed up. And he was struggling to go Super Saiyan. So it was like, yeah, it definitely wouldn't have worked.
One of my least favorite, just random plot points that just caused arguments that just were like, we don't need to argue because this literally makes zero sense, was movie 13 when Tapion gave President Trunks
the sword.
And everyone's like, oh, is that how future Trunks got his sword? It's like, no. He's older than President Trunks. He never encountered that. When they did that, I was like, why the fuck did y'all do it? Because now we have all this unnecessary discourse.
Now it makes GT infinitely more disappointing.
And it's just like, I just didn't understand how they like Matt, you were saying, they literally you couldn't place them anywhere.
Yeah. It couldn't go anywhere. And then like you were saying, Trav, the Tapion movie is one of the last Dragon Ball Z movies, and we've all known up until this point that none of these genres are canon. Why the fuck are we so impassioned about this damn sword?
Right.
we know that they're not canon events. We know they're just movies. What are we doing here, bro?
If you would have had a Tapion movie that obviously you wouldn't have Super Saiyan 3 at the time, but let's say that took place, before Future Trunks arrived, then all right, then that debate is worth having. But no, this is at the end of Z times. What are we talking about?
My favorite,
the whole gang was there.
One, where it's it almost makes sense, but it still makes zero sense, is that the first Broly movie would have had to take place literally within the 4 days between the episode where Goku and Piccolo learn how to drive and the Cell games start. And what world is Goku, Vegeta,
it's a crazy day.
Krillin, and all them leaving Earth just to fight Broly, and then
they looked at the calendar. They said, "All right, we got 7 more days. All right, I think we good.
Actually, the only movie that I think you could, because this was never really truly specified, but BoJack Unbound was the only movie because you could have said whatever time Future Trunks spent on Earth before he went back to his future, you could maybe say in that split second that's where BoJack Unbound took place, because Goku wasn't in that movie. It was focused on Gohan, who had Super Saiyan 2. So
that's facts, because after the Cell games, Trunks didn't leave immediately. Like he didn't go right away. And that takes time.
Yeah. Which is why BoJack, like, I love that movie actually. Like that's actually
BoJack's probably big facts. That's another one where they gave Vegeta a really awesome moment just to rip it away. Like always. Speaking of rips, what were you gonna say, Trav?
No, I was gonna say, but back to Mikey.
Well, look, that's where I was going with it too. Look, wavelength, baby, wavelength. But I go ahead, bro.
No, I was just saying, just talk about your background in graphic design, because obviously that's where you started with collaborating with us, and then I want you to then talk into how you learned how to mix and master and engineer on the fly, because you didn't know how to do that before working with Dragon Ball.
Self-taught man.
Like I need the people to know like just your journey from there to there.
Well, you know, I feel like we have to shout out the AOX boys who used to be the Ether boys with you guys.
I mean, it's some rumblings.
Okay. Just use the album art I made for you before you guys went on that permanent hiatus. All right.
Oh no, that's forever. That's forever the cover, like of anything that may or may not happen. Wink, wink. Hey, that's definitely locked in. But yeah, shout outs to the Ether boys. Shout outs to them boys.
I love those guys. So I was always spending time when I was younger drawing. I feel like that was like, okay, I have all of this overactive imagination. My brain was like living in these fictional worlds: Star Wars, Pokemon, Digimon, Dragon Ball, any other anime I was watching at a time. And I was constantly like doodling, but I was never taking actual art classes at school until later in my life. I felt like, okay, I really want to get into learning how to do this and pursue it professionally. I didn't really have any sort of drive for anything else. There was nothing that was calling to me from a career standpoint, and I was like, okay, I got to figure something out before I go to college. Spoiler alert, I didn't quite figure it out until quite late. So I went to community college for a year. And I
Ain't that the truth of everybody?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, right. So I didn't know how passionate I was about it until I went to Montco and really started to learn like all of these different techniques. And I was lucky enough to have a few like graphic design courses under my belt. But as I was touring schools and figuring out where I wanted to go to art school, I learned about digital illustration, and it was this huge. I was like, okay, this is drawing or painting, but like on a computer. I can press the undo button. I can't tell you how many pieces of paper I threw away. I probably killed countless trees. Sorry, trees. It was not my.
That's barbaric as shit.
It is barbaric as shit.
Do you take people's lands?
I mean, technically, if trees are land, yes.
Do you come from the Vikings? Do you fuck with the war?
No, I don't fuck with the war. There's just so many conflicting principles.
Every time.
Every time. You're not going to catch me missing references to that song.
As you should.
Shout out to LD.
You know what I mean? Lil Dicky Ball, everybody's favorite ball, brother. Lil Dicky Ball.
We might have fans in Cheltenham. Who knows? But
I feel that to be true.
Yeah. So I went to school for illustration, and I definitely gave it the old college try, and I definitely felt like graphic design was something that I had under the bag a little bit, but illustration was an extra skill. So like actually being able to refine my drawing techniques and do all that, it was important to me. And I definitely struggled to find a style. And when I left school, not having some of the things that were readily available to me there, I kind of had to take things back down a notch and try and find new ways to be creative, which I think I wasn't drawing as much, or I was finding ways around drawing at home to really complete my projects. And, I did a few internships. I worked for GoPuff for a little bit as a graphic designer. It just wasn't making ends meet, so I ultimately had to step away from that. And I didn't make art for, I think it was like a year and a half. I really had taken like a long hiatus while I found like a retail job.
How dare you?
I know. So I didn't have a creative outlet. And I think in that time, that's when the music was really kind of my creative outlet. So just like from like a timeline perspective, it was like, okay, I was working on some of the music stuff while I was at school, but after school is where I kind of like let that live a little more of its life. And after some unfortunate circumstances where the band stopped continuing to work, I just had this like long period of time where my passion wasn't behind those creative endeavors. And, you know, ironically, I got laid off from a job 2 weeks before the pandemic happened, and I had nothing to do all day. And I was like, well, if I'm going to be not doing anything all day and like essentially living on unemployment like half the world was when they, you know, they couldn't go to work, I was like, I might as well do something productive. Yeah. And that's where I started this huge portrait series. And I think that's when you guys reached out to me about potentially making a cover for Ether. And that's
great decision.
We all came into working together.
Indeed.
Just in like that capacity alone, it felt like real world application of all of these things. And I was essentially just doing fan art before. And I had tested a few things. Like I was like, fuck it, I'll do a portrait of a pigeon. I made this awesome picture of Rey for her birthday, but it wasn't anything out there until you guys really asked me to make the portraits of you guys for the first album cover we did. And it just kind of completely rekindled this whole creative spirit. And to be honest, every piece of graphic design I've done since then has been for the podcast. So it's weird that it's like that transition to this, but the audio engineering thing, nothing that I had ever thought that I was going to get myself into.
I remember you told us, you were like, oh, I can give it a shot.
Yeah, just like, let me just watch a couple YouTube videos and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. I had taught myself to do so many things before, and you know, initially when you guys asked me to be the producer, I already had And Are You Okay under my belt a little bit, but Siebes was doing all of the sound editing. Like I was doing the and promotion for that, but like that was all Siebes. So you know, huge shout out to him, obviously co-creator of Mania.
Shout out to the ball, Siebes.
He's not always hopping on, but when he does hop on, we love it.
The great disruptor.
The great disruptor.
He truly is in the best way. But yeah, like I guess ultimately you guys taking that leap of faith and trusting me and like giving me just a couple weeks to see if I could get it down has now turned into this, you know, we're entering our third year. That literally, like as we're recording this,
crazy.
I think we started February of 2022,
2021, right? Or 2021, 2022.
I'm losing track of time now, but
this is our 2021
of content creation, and
that's
crazy.
Fucking nuts, bro.
I know. It really, in some ways it feels like a lifetime, in other ways it feels like we just fast forwarded through life.
Yeah, bro.
But thanks for,
you know what it was, bro, because it's like look, man, I like me and Trav say all the time, like, you know, even though like, you know, we're front and center, like on like with the posts and like obviously like the episodes, like we gave Yali her flowers during her episodes, and we always will. And you know, like the team that we got behind us, we should shout out to y'all, all caps, all the time,
all caps.
You know, I say this with all humility, but it's like we literally could not do this shit without you, bro. Like, nope. Not even a little bit of it. Like, you know, we've all talked about all the time together, separately, on mic, off mic. Like, you know, podcasting is so much more than hitting record and having a conversation with your friends. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. And me and Trav are able to cook and do what we feel and, you know, go into these things without necessarily needing it to be so airtight and outlined, because we know that you got our back, bro.
Always.
You are the wind beneath our wings.
It's
the wind beneath
so
our
crazy.
nimbus.
I really don't. This might come off of us just like circle jerking, but in reality,
well, those are the best. Those are the best types of jerks, other than the dance.
That's a wild image to give everybody as they see this trifecta right here.
But it's like I can't have you guys say all those nice things and then not talk about the professionalism that you guys attack this with. Like, they don't realize all the work that goes in the background, the organization, and like the thought-provoking questions that like Trav writes up in his briefs that we send out to our interview guests. Matt always being available to record, whether it's for DB4L.
I contribute to those questions.
I know you do. But it's like
I'm just fucking with you.
It's crazy how like.
Hey, look, if Trav didn't make them briefs, my shit would be like, hey, guess what's up, bro? You trying to come on?
he said, what's goody, my guy?
What's poppin'? You trying to slide?
Yeah. And then Yali being this like huge industry connect that we like literally, if I'm the engine that like is DB4L and Annie Ryoke, Yali is like the fuel. Because without her pumping it into 100%. Things, like the engine doesn't work. We don't create content. And yeah, we're two background pieces, but like there's
so much more than that. So much more than that.
My favorite compliment that I get on the podcast, and it's like one of those things where it's like I always feel so lucky because I get to hear it first. But whenever people listen to Dragon Ball for Life and they talk about you guys, they're always like, you know what? It really feels like I'm in the room with them, and I'm like part of the conversation.
Yes.
That is to me like the ultimate compliment, because it just speaks to, one, who you guys are as people, and then two, just how comfortable you are talking about what you love. And it is seriously so fun to be able to be a part of this, help you guys get your voices out there, and then be there to clean up any of the mistakes that unfortunately technology throws in our way, because normally you guys are airtight.
It's rarely on us.
If you're wondering if those amazing intros are scripted, they're not, because I've seen them do it live multiple times. And it's honestly astonishing how crazy you guys are able to pull that shit together. You guys don't even talk about it beforehand. You're like some weird hive mind, but I love it.
Yeah, brother. Symbiosis out here, bro. That's big facts. That's big facts. But me and Trav have said a bunch. I'll stop metaphorically sucking your dick after this. But me and Trav have said a bunch of times, like, you and Yali. And again, this isn't to take away from anyone else on the team. Shout outs to Paul. Shout outs to Tay. Those guys are invaluable members. But just in regards to us being the core four that started this, like me and Trav say all the time, like, we're the faces, but you and Yali, y'all are the heart and the soul, respectively, of DB4L. Like, without y'all, there is no us. And then it also helps, the fact that you're just a good dude in real life, that like, we actually enjoy fucking with you outside of this space. Like, I'm just trying to make you sound good to the listeners, brother.
That's fine. They can believe it.
Take all the compliments.
Like, soon as we get off this recording, fuck that guy.
He said, I don't even know how we work with boy.
Like, he's lucky he's good at fucking engineering. But nah, bro. But you make this very easy to do, because like, even when we're having like, production meetings, or if like you're just like, hey, can you hit me up real quick about this, that, and the third, like, it never feels like a task talking to you about these things. So it's like, it makes it very easy to get on here and record, 2-3 times a week, and then also be talking to you guys about it when we're not recording, because it don't feel like work to me, because I know we're all,
it never does
ever. We all have the same goal in mind, bro. Like, trying to make big shit happen. And
that
if not us, then
about
who?
Like, if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. If we are able to turn this into our day jobs, then 100% I will manifest. Oh, I'm trying.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, the core four is definitely like, I don't think you ever think that like I'm going to develop these super strong friendships this late in life. And Trav and I were friends prior to this, but grown exponentially closer. Matt, you and I are just kindred spirits that like, I don't know what forces were keeping us apart for the first 30 years of my life.
Brother from another white mother. You feel me?
I like that. Mikey, I gotta ask you.
Go ahead.
Oh no, no! I just gotta. I don't know what the delay there. But I just gotta know, like, when you were learning how to mix and master, was there like any moment or any aspect of the process where you said, it's a little,
yeah, I'm gonna have to tell them no.
Yeah, because it's like you told us that you were gonna give it a shot, and you just never looked like we never, like, for those that are listening, we never heard him hit us up like, hey, I'm gonna need an extra week to pick this up, or hey, like,
man's just like, hey, we good to go.
Yeah.
We good to go. Let's go.
Like we recorded, sent him the files, and he was like, all right, when do you need it up by? And so, so I just want to know, like, when you were learning, like, was there anything that where you were kind of like, I kind of want to tell these guys, like, I'm not sure if it's how it's gonna sound, but fuck it, we'll try. But I just want to know what was going through your mind during that time.
I didn't want to pass up an opportunity like this because I from our first meeting before we even changed the name to Dragon Ball for Life, I could feel like the passion and energy behind it, and like being someone to help you guys like realize your vision in whatever capacity that took was very motivating for me. So in reality, I would say that your guys' passion around it like made me work through any of those feelings, but I really found it a way to make it work for me. The Adobe suite of products is fairly user-friendly once you've learned them, and having the experience with Photoshop and Illustrator allowed me to kind of like translate it to After Effects, which is the stupidest way people could make podcasts, but it is how I do it. And we're probably changing that formula soon now that I know so much more. But it was also how we were kind of like able to get the reels up and running so fast, because I had been playing around with animating just in my free time. And it was this extra element that was like, it was encouraging for me to find out, okay, how can we make the audio piece of this work? And then I applied it to, okay, how can we now take this and promote it? And so it was all these like things we were working on in tandem, like just to make things work. It turned into this huge project that was a bunch of tiny projects. But no, I don't think there was any point where I was like, I can't do this. It was like, okay, I'm stuck right now, but like, let me figure out what's wrong. Go watch a YouTube video and teach myself how to fix it. And then I don't like to give credit out to people that really piss me off, but there was someone in our journey a place where me and Matt used to work that I will not divulge who it was. But they gave me a great sound editing tip, and I never looked back. And it definitely made a lot of difference.
Hey. Sometimes
that one tip took the professionalism of our podcast and lifted it up a little bit. But yeah,
what's that one meme? The worst person you know made a great point.
Just made a great point.
Yeah.
I remember I seen I want to say it was a Vlad interview. I know, right? But I don't remember. I don't remember who the interview was, but I'm pretty sure it was a Vlad interview. But I remember like the sound bite was like, even if you listen to Flavor Flav long enough, you'll eventually learn something. So it's just like, and I don't know why that like bite like just stuck with me. Well, it's just like I just kind of like applied it to like, yeah, like even like the most, like you just said, I almost said something mean. Even the most enjoyable people.
Ain't nothing wrong with Flavor Flav.
We kept the relationship professional. I'm not going to deliberately jump on this like this person, but they did teach me something very valuable that I still use to this day. So I personally give them credit. Word.
I will say this. I will say this to keep it a respectful decoupling per se. It's when that announcement did come up that we had officially gone our separate ways. There wasn't much resistance to which
it did not feel that way.
Respect, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Let's just say before that happened, our wings were wet, and now we're flying high. So
I look, man. Like the phoenix, we rose from the ashes.
Mm-hmm.
You said, just let Booby spin, put me in, coach. That's all we wanted.
That's it.
To quote Miles Morales, but change up the line a little bit. Fuck it, I'm gonna do my own thing.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
It's like Travis Kelce gripping up Andy Reid, like, put me in, bro. Like, don't put me on the bench.
Which was wild. Like how could
I had a really big problem with that. That bothered me.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, that bothered me. That bothered me.
We were watching the game, and Allie was like, "I'm sorry, but like, did anybody just see that? This man just shoved it. Like, he could have really hurt him. Like, if Andy would have like fell in the wrong way,
bro." You already just saw your teammate tear his Achilles from trying to celebrate.
He said it's Kelsey.
You gonna sit there and bump into Big Red?
In my auto.
Right. My relationship is on the line. Put me in.
She will leave me and make a song that will ruin my life.
You're gonna bag a cheeseburger.
I will not get any royalties.
Bro, I am so glad. And look, so let me preface this by saying I'm not trying to shit on Love, but I'm so glad that he did not propose to her. Like, bro, that would have been the biggest farce of an engagement that I've ever seen in my life, dog. Like,
would have been hilarious if she said no.
Dog, that's like that would have been that's got like publicity stunt stamped on it. Like if they were to do that, like, ew.
Can I just digress us really quickly?
Yes,
just really
absolutely.
So one, I was rooting for the Chiefs just because the Niners are the biggest crybabies in the world, and like they've been talking mad shit.
40 whiners.
They haven't won anything, and so shout out to Fletch for like getting his shit off after the game because that was amazing. Like I love that kind of petty.
Oh yeah.
Two, another reason why I was rooting. He waited for not a second for the game to end. He said, "Yeah, you still don't got one of these, so shut up." Like, and which like
petty wop on every block.
He was talking as if like he's what anyways. But the reason why I was rooting for the Chiefs was because I just love seeing how mad people got at like the camera panning over to Taylor Swift whenever she was at a game, because to piggyback off of the worst person made a great point meme. Colin Cowherd was talking about just how enraged people get about media coverage of Taylor Swift and everything. But like them showing Taylor Swift in the game is the same thing as the camera always showing Jack Nicholson at a Lakers game or Spike Lee at a Knicks game. Like there's celebrities that attend these games all the time. And it's just like, the media in the beginning, it was, all right, like y'all doing too much. Leave this shit to TMZ. I don't need Adam Schefter telling me Taylor Swift's whereabouts.
Where Shefty giving Taylor Swift updates is wild.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, at that point you're just kind of like, all right, just stay in the lane. We don't need that. But
I don't need a Woj bomb on Taylor Swift.
Yeah, but dudes were like genuinely get mad at the sight of her, and I'm like, yo, you need help. Like you need help.
Calm
like
down.
it's not that deep. Like it's I get it. The coverage could be annoying, but like y'all, like I was out one time, and every single time they showed her on the camera. I think it was for the Chiefs Bills AFC Championship. This dude just boo, and he was with like his girl and his like her friends. I'm like, yo, my man, like
who probably love Taylor Swift.
Yeah. I'm like, you the one that looks weird in this situation, bro.
Relax.
So yeah, I just thought it was funny how like just how her presence made people mad in that scenario. I was like, yo, all right, y'all, like
it is kind of like weird that she had that effect, but it was like I literally I was kind of hoping for a Dark Knight Rises situation where the field imploded strictly because I'm an Eagles fan.
What's a lovely voice.
I'm not a fan of either team, but it was just like I could not see the Niners gloat as Super Bowl champions.
There was a moment of clarity for me when the Chiefs won again, though, where I was like, wow, for 15 minutes, there are conspiracy theorists out there that think that Taylor Swift's about to endorse Joe Biden and they're just going to hand over the celebration ceremony to her here for a second. And I was like,
that
just knowing that there are people
wild.
Losing their mind over this right now is enough lifeblood to make me go to bed a little happy.
Yo,
speaking of Biden, what was that tweet? Like, what the?
I was dying.
Yo.
I was like, the person who was running that account definitely knew what they were doing, and it was hilariously.
I saw that. I was like, yo, what is?
I must have sent it to like three people. Like, I was dying. I thought it was so funny.
I was like,
in
is
hindsight,
this a parody?
maybe not super funny. I'm not trying to get political, but for what happened last night across the world, definitely bad timing. But that was definitely
just a tad.
One of the funnier things I've seen come out of a presidential Twitter account.
On the same day when they had like a very, I want to say, I always feel weird when it comes to these messages, because the messaging what is it going to do in the grand scheme? But it was just kind of like the timing of that tweet was like after they had a commercial for Jewish hate, and it was there's a lot of stuff with that you can talk about, like just. Well, what are we doing here? But then you have that tweet come out. It's like,
cool. I'm a Jew, bro. Feel comfortable talking about it. We good. I got you covered, dog.
I literally was about to say, Matt, you're a Jew. How do you?
I got you.
But can we?
I'll speak for the people.
I don't mean to keep digressing us. I just got
we good.
I got one more question to ask y'all.
Yes.
Jesus got the bag, huh? Like,
dog. Nah, bro. Hold on. Dog. That fucking foot fetish commercial, dog. Like, yo, that shit was creepy as hell. Like,
and how about the one? They had first off, there's a million Jesus commercials, but second,
that foot one was weird, bro. Like, I'm pretty sure who the weirdo bull from Nickelodeon, Dan Schneider. Pretty sure he was like, "Oh, this is lit, yo." He said representation. Let's go. Jesus does it too. Like, let's get it. Yo.
Well, and apologies to anybody that is in any sort of religious sect, but I just got to know when watching that commercial and they were showing the images of the homeless people and everything, and then they panned it to Jesus, and I was like, well, Jesus ain't get them a home. They still in the streets. Like,
yeah, you couldn't have distributed $14 million a little better.
No, like the money that you put in this advertising can go towards maybe a shelter to put these people in. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Listen.
I was like,
I obviously don't shy away from it, but resident atheist here. I'm just saying, someone who's raised as a Christian, I think there are a lot better uses for that money to act like a Christian than making a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Also, the foot fetish thing, a little weird. But I definitely
hold on. Let me compound on your point. Let me compound on your point real quick, Mikey. Even if, let's say let's say however much money, 10 million, 14 million they had to pay to get that commercial spot. Even if there wasn't a better way to use that, there are a million better things that Jesus did that they could have picked to highlight other than him washing feet. Like, so many more amazing things he did to help society, like based off his legend, that they could have like highlighted other than the washing.
I want to travel through the multiverse for the one where he's just turning water into wine and everyone's having fun like the Bud Light.
Hell yeah!
And
like,
they pan
it's just mad brunches.
Man, we go
instead
see,
of the Nickelodeon
see
slime
Jesus
cannon,
with Shohei Ohtani next year.
Jesus definitely gonna be with Shohei.
the Dodgers are signing Jesus next offseason.
1000%.
How do you know he's not already signed? Shohei could be the second coming, as far as I'm concerned.
Look, bro. Greatest player in baseball history. Let's go.
That's why Shohei's contract is getting paid on the back end, because they got to make room to sign Jesus.
That's what it is. They got to clear the books. You know what? You know what? They're going to sell the team to Jesus when it's time to pay Shohei. That's what it's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be like
Jesus and Braun going to buy an NBA franchise.
Yeah. He said, move over, Andrew Tate. It's the real top G. Double entendre. Don't ask me out.
When there's a Vegas franchise for the NBA announced, we're gonna see Jesus.
Oh, you know Brian gonna show up there. the Las Vegas Cross. That's gonna be the name.
The Vegas Disciples.
Disciples. That's good.
It's gonna be great.
They're gonna call the stadium Pontius Pilate. Like
Nazareth Stadium.
That's better.
Nazareth Stadium, name of this episode. Yo, I will say though,
instead of happy hour, they got holy hour
and Holy Spirit.
There you go.
Starting at point guard.
Jesus H. Christ.
No, it's point guardian angel.
Jesus. H. Christ.
It's like from the university of wherever you believe.
Oh man, point guardian angel. That's what it is.
Point guardian angel.
Point guardian angel.
He plays the 1 through 5. He just
facts.
He's the only starter.
That's
Fact. It's just, and he'll be there. He'll be there for the pass. Like he'll be there for the lob. Like lob it up to himself. Like, it's gonna be great. I will say, just to poke fun at politics, because why not? It's too serious. Let's make it fun. I don't know what his stance.
We just having fun, y'all.
I don't know what his stance is. I don't know what his platform is. I don't know what this man stands for. That Kennedy ad, he has my vote. He got my vote. JFK was
Put it in.
JFK. He was there. He was invited to the cookout, bro. He got my vote.
I don't know, man. He definitely shouldn't be riding around in a car with an open back. We just
big facts. Nah, he got to get that Elon indestructible tank truck thing where the windows do break. He need that thing. Exactly. But yeah, no, I felt empowered. I was like, oh, change is coming, guys. Kennedy's running for office. Let's go. Simpler times. The range. We talk about everything on this podcast.
But let's ask more questions about Mike.
Reel it back in.
I channeled Siebes there. I disrupted the whole thing. We just went into fucking.
Speaking of Siebes, what a segue. Speaking of Siebes, what a segue. Because you had kind of mentioned it as a point of aside, but I kind of want to dig into it a bit more. So, you were feeling unfulfilled creatively around pandemic times. And, you started a little indie project, known as Annie, Are You Okay? A Star Wars podcast. Tell us about the inception of that. Like where, there you go. Like where that came from, the idea, the inception, how it came to be, and how we got to where we are now as our sister property.
It's funny because I feel like the inception of Annie, Are You Okay? Is a little similar to Dragon Ball for Life, because in our first meeting, I don't know if you guys remember talking about this, but all of the Dragon Ball content outside of, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the RDC World, right? They're the ones who do all like the anime content.
Yeah, RDC World. Shout out to RDC World.
Other than them, it was a bunch of like white kids in their basement who were, making these and while some of that was entertaining and it was cool to see, it just didn't feel like they were being as creative with the space as they could be. And in Star Wars, I felt like there was a decent amount of creativity, and a lot of people who knew their shit for sure. Like they're definitely well versed in all things Star Wars, but there was a lot of this element of not safe for work jokes that Siebes and I had been making our entire childhood, that it was just like, well, why don't we just do what these guys are doing, bring that same level of know-how and professionalism, but not hold back what we're trying to say just to make it family friendly. And it went through a few different like inceptions and ideas, and we had talked about it for a while. But during the pandemic, I had nothing but time, and I was like, we should fucking do this. And I think Siebes was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I think we should definitely fucking do this. And then once we came up with a name, it just kind of steamrolled from there. So shout out to Siebes for, being there with me in the beginning. I know he's not as passionate about it. Not that he doesn't still love Star Wars, but it's just like, other things got in the way in life. And really just thanks to
life finds a way.
Yeah. Thanks to Matt for joining me on our revival of the podcast. And, Trav, I know that you've been on Annie, Are You Okay? Once, but I think it's a lot to say. Hey, we have this huge Dragon Ball for Life podcast that we're all putting all this energy into. Are we really gonna just have Mikey and Matt like transition to do a whole extra project? I think if you had asked a lot of teams of people if we were like, oh yeah, that's okay, I think there'd be legitimately some concern from the other team members. But you and Yali were super supportive, and we were able to just kind of like add it into the mix. And I feel like we've been there've been a couple of small hiatuses just due to time constraints, and this is always going to be like the main priority. But I feel like we found a family of podcasts here, and whatever kind of like these things turn into, I'm just excited that we are continuing to talk about these fandoms that we're very passionate about and letting other things kind of like bleed into it, regardless of whether it's, it might be politics jokes and religion jokes, but for the most part, it's jokes about these things that we
the range.
Yeah, we love and we know it well. We're not just your average like casual viewer. Like you guys understand the timeline of Dragon Ball inside and out, and it's great to see. And I would say that's the same for me in Star Wars. And Matt walks multiple worlds of fandoms that I'm always impressed by the knowledge he has about
the range,
literally every range. Quite literally the range, as he says.
Legit.
Nah, I appreciate that, brother. But it's just like, kind of like what you were saying. And I never really thought about that, like taking on a whole nother entity while dealing with an entity. I didn't really think about that. But that kind of goes back to the conversation. It's just like, I don't look at this as like a task. This shit ain't arduous to me. It's just like, I'd be doing this with you guys on some casual shit anyway. So it's like, fuck it. Why not try to get us paid off of this? Like we having better conversations than a lot of
loving what you do.
Look, bro, and the way I see it, we're having better conversations, not to take no shots, but taking shots than a lot of people who are like, big names in this space. I'm not gonna single nobody out. But I'm just like, if y'all can do it,
we do it too.
We damn sure do it too.
Yeah, I think there's enough breakdowns out there. Let's dive into some other topics a little more in depth than necessarily like, what's happening or what might be coming next. Like leave that to the new rock stars of the world and
shout outs to them.
Don't get me wrong, they do great work. Like it's inspiring. In fact, it was some content creators that like really made me feel like these guys are good, but I think I can do this maybe not better, but different. And there's like
or at least on par, like the same quality.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what you guys you've set out to do, and you're doing it in ways that I don't think I even thought of when we first set out to do this. You guys wanted to give a voice to a different type of fan, not just being black content creators, but like hitting that area of fans who were afraid to talk about this shit growing up and now have like avenues to do so. You guys are like trailblazing a path for more people to talk about this stuff and be open about the things that they love. And I think that that's really the biggest highlight about the pod itself, is that we're creating those avenues.
Yeah, and same for you with Annie, Are You Okay, bro? And that's why I was just like, I've said this to you a bunch of times, but I don't think I've ever like deep dived into it. But it's like, that's why I was so like impassioned with like making sure that Annie, Are You Okay comes back and sticks. Cause it's like, I know you were saying through, you and Siebes life happening and starting and stopping. And then, you coming on the DB4L train and everything. I remember us talking. I was like, oh, like, what's up with Annie, bro? Like, cause I remember, I think I might've listened to Annie, Are You Okay? Like before me and you like ever had like a conversation. Cause, we have friends in common and shit like that. And I think I might've stumbled onto it by accident.
I know, boy.
Yeah, I think we might have. I'm pretty sure even pre the logo being made, we were already friends on Instagram for whatever reason. Probably through Trav, friends you may know, type of situation. Like,
I definitely.
So
think
I had already
some overlap, but yeah, I appreciated that. Because before we ever really talked in depth about doing more on Ether, like you had been hitting me up about different topics to talk about on Annie, Are You Okay? Because you wanted to be a guest. Now look at you. You're
yeah. Damn, that's facts. I was definitely begging you to get on that bitch. Yeah, that's facts.
Said, give me a chance.
I fucking totally forgot all about that.
It's so weird how we do this through Riverside now, and I want to shout out Riverside, but I'm really mad at them right now for selling themselves to Spotify. So
trying to get that back. They trying to build. They trying to build.
They probably got a little something.
Yeah, a lot of something
that we need. Something that we need. You know what I'm saying?
Where Spotify, you in the buying mood? Like, what you talking about, bro?
Do you want an anime, a DB exclusive podcast on Spotify only?
Look, like we be shouting out Riverside all the time anyway, bro. Come, we can talk. We can
That's
talk.
what I'm saying.
So even though I'm mad at them, like this has allowed us to do so many things that I think it was so hard when we were recording Annie, Are You Okay on Siebes' MacBook. Like he had this whole interface that we were using. I think you guys had something similar for Ether, like back in the day. You guys had to be in the same room.
We were using So when we were recording, we wanted to make it a point to do it together in the middle of a pandemic. At that, we wanted to make it a point that we were all in the same room because we wanted, to give that sense of community because we were all separated. And then, but like the times where we couldn't get together, we were doing it on Zoom. That fucking sucked, yo. Doing a podcast on Zoom, man. I'm early Ether. Yeah. Oh, matter of fact, the whole Ether run before we were really able to just do it all together, like every episode. Yeah, them quarantining kings episodes was wild.
Hey, we got through.
We did get through it. Yeah.
They were really nutty too.
Pains, right?
Facts.
Through all these processes, and don't get me wrong. Like I think that eventually, one of these days when we're really making our strides, I'd love to be in the same room as you guys when we're creating the content. But for right now, we have this avenue to do it through Riverside, and it's awesome, and it gives us so much flexibility. Like to just we all work 9 to 5s. We were all doing our 9 to 5s other than Matt because Matt happens to be off on this particular day. You don't know what day it is because we didn't disclose it.
Said you don't know. You might not ever find out.
Look, people are going to try to use like a moon chart to figure out the day. Like, all right, well.
I see that Matt's
we got him.
Is in Gatorade.
Exactly. In Gatorade. Oh, man. Nah, that retrograde really be fucking people up, though. we don't got to go down that path.
Phase right now. I literally know nothing about it.
Shout out to Jordan. I'm like, I know about it through association, but that's not really my bag. Numerology is more of my shit, but that's neither here nor there. So, matter of fact, here's a question that I would like to ask you, and you kind of referenced it, but I don't think I've ever asked you straight out. With Annie, Are You Okay? Is there an end goal, or is there in a perfect world, this is where Annie, Are You Okay would be? Like if everything I want to get out of this, I'm able to get, this is what Annie, Are You Okay would be in the zeitgeist.
So I love how it's kind of like the DNA of the shows is we have these random conversations that turn into Star Wars. But what I really think over time, what I'd love for it to develop into is, maybe it's you and me covering content, but if we ever bring in other content creators, or hell, maybe even, if there's an avenue for people who've actually worked on Star Wars to come talk with us, I want that to be their free space to not be family friendly and just get some genuine reactions out of people, being able to, if you want to make a dick joke about an alien, I want you to do it on Annie, Are You Okay? If you want to talk about
it's been done.
That's your elevator.
If you want to talk about how fucking awesome something is, and use
that's on the business card.
If you want to talk about an alien dick, go on Annie, Are You Okay?
You got Star Wars dick jokes? Well, do we have a podcast for you?
And
you want to talk about Star Wars dicks? Well, I can find you a place where you can get the clicks.
So
in a galaxy far, far away, on this podcast, the dick jokes come to play.
So many.
We'll get stuck here. We'll get stuck here. Just go ahead.
Keep going, Mikey.
Go ahead, Mike. We'll get stuck here.
But yeah, I just really want it to be that space where people are free to we're gonna dive deep into all these themes of Star Wars and talk about what we love about it so much, but also have it be this place where we can poke fun at it just as much as we show it love. Because to me, that's always been my relationship with Star Wars. There are so many things about it from a narrative standpoint that really speak to me. Not just from the hero's journey to the different characters going through all of these things. It's real life implications in terms of imperialism and the colonization of people, and all of these different factions of people rising up and finding power within community. Those are all central themes to Star Wars. But there has always been an element to me of, you can't take this shit too seriously because it's just riddled with room for jokes. And it's there's comedy in Star Wars already, but the amount of parodies that have come off of it, whether it was Robot Chicken or Family Guy, those are all things that even when I'm watching the original trilogy, sometimes I can't help but think of the Family Guy bit And then, so I'll go from watching like Return of the Jedi to then watching the Family Guy version of Return of the Jedi, because I was like, yeah, I really enjoyed like that in and of itself, but now I'm going to go watch the really funny part of it too. And I think that's the one thing I miss since Disney has taken over, is it just feels like there hasn't been as many like parodies or jokes about it, or these like specials that, like, now that George Lucas can't be the one who's saying like, yeah, go for it. And my hope would be that eventually comes back down to earth and we get to poke fun at some of these other things while celebrating all the amazing things that it does at the same time.
Well, that was a great answer.
He came prepared, Matt.
Look, he said, give me another one.
he knew the ring he was stepping in.
Give me another one. I do have it. So this is it's a bit of a sidestep off of Star Wars, and it's stepping back into the anime wheelhouse, because I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about your obsession with Code Geass, and I would love for you to let the people know. Look, bro, we've been here before. Tell them about your love. Matter of fact, I want to know how is, because like you're very, very passionate. I feel like you probably feel about Code Geass the same way that like I feel about Trigun or Digimon. Like it's one of the ones that it's just like, if you know, and it's a golden anime, but it kind of flies under the radar a bit. So how did you stumble into the anime, and then how did that end up becoming like your favorite anime of all time?
So I'm going to get a lot of shit from this from probably like 80% of the audience, but I am a dub viewer, and I'll tell you why. I was a big fan of Bleach, and I watched all the dubbed episodes of Bleach, and I was like, this cannot possibly be it. I know that there's more. I've seen YouTube videos of Ichigo fighting Grimjaw. How do I get there? And I was like, oh, okay, I got to watch it in Japanese.
That's what got me hooked.
And I was like, very, very, very much, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this show in Japanese. It's going to be a little weird, but like, I'll go along. And I just realized that I was like reading it more than I was watching it. Like I was reading the subtitles, and I was like, what's the point here? Like I was like, if I'm going to read this, I might as well just read the manga. So that being said, I chose to take my anime in via dub, so I could really just enjoy that. And the best dubs, I think, when we were in high school, were the Gundam dubs. Sunrise just had like a great...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love
like, I remember watching Gundam
Gundam Wings
school.
in my top 5.
And, I grew into a love for... Gundam 00 was another one that I think... I may have watched that after Code Geass, but knowing that Sunrise did such a good job with them, and having watched Bleach... I was a big fan of Johnny Young Bosch, who used to be a Black Power Ranger, and now he's
Adam.
It feels like, but I was like stumbled through IMDb and found out that Code Geass was like, it was a mech anime, and I had been on like a Gundam binge, and then I was like, oh, Johnny Young Bosch is also in this. I should check it out. I did get a recommendation from my friend. Thank you, Nick Patel, for being like, oh yeah, I've seen that. Like, you should definitely check it out. And I got fucking hooked like hard. The first episode at the very end, I just wasn't expecting it to kind of take such like a serious turn, and I was intrigued because I was like, this is feels like very politically driven, but also at the same time is thrilling. And then there's like this weird supernatural element to it that was like not too heavy, but heavy enough that it was like, okay, this could seriously impact the story. And that's just the first episode. And then you go to find out, and there's only one other show that I think does this as well as Code Geass. But you're not just following the main character and his story, you're following his childhood best friend and their story from two completely different sides of the spectrum. And so, and I feel like I've coined this term, I don't think I've ever heard anybody else use it, but there is a co-tagonist element to the story. You have your,
it's yours now.
Right. It's the protagonist is always the character that you're following, right? And you're like rooting for them. And the reason I say co-tagonist instead of like protagonist and antagonist, because you can have multiple protagonists in a story, right? But how often are your protagonists the antagonist of the other protagonist? It does not happen at all.
That's definitely.
And Code Geass was the perfect storytelling element for that, and I think that's what really drove it into me. And Avatar: The Last Airbender is the show I was going to compare it to, because Zuko.
I was just about to ask. Yeah.
And
gotcha.
it's just a huge, like, that to me is like, it's an interesting story element, and it takes you places where like sometimes they're teaming up without even realizing that they're not on the same side. You know, and there's the tension.
Friends become enemies. Enemies become friends.
Exactly. But they've been friends the whole time. So
every time Mikey speaks Code Geass, just really, I gotta like, I keeps on like, I have a list of things I need to watch. And
bro, my watch list is ridiculous.
But each time Mike talks about Code Geass, I'm like, all right, I gotta move that up.
And Trav,
so I did watch Code Geass
that's like
on Adult Swim.
I think what I just explained to you is like, that's not even 10 episodes into it is where you like really start to feel that, and I haven't even given you like the real plot of the show. I'm telling you, it's just like, it's phenomenal. You watch the first 25 episodes and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And then when you start the next season, you're just like, how did we get here? But like, I'm just hooked, and you can't stop. And it ends in a way that I think is maybe one of the most satisfying endings in all of anime.
All right, so Trav, our goal is to, and Yali, this is a edict for you as well. We need to find one of the stars or the voice actors from Code Geass, get them on for a Dragoncall, and Mikey has to be on for that episode. That's what we need. That's what we need to make happen.
you guys already know that like Johnny Young Bosch, he plays Lelouch, who is like the actual, I guess, quote unquote main character. But the other character is voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, who is the voice of Spider-Man in Marvel's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So another very prominent voice actor. Other than Spider-Man, I think that's my favorite role of his, is as Suzaku Kurugi in that show. All right. I have a question for you guys.
Yuri and Johnny. Oh shit, switching it up.
Because speaking of Code Geass, I view live action and animation as mediums, right?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, when I talk about shows that I really love, I do include it all the same. I'm not like, oh, this is my favorite anime, this is my favorite like regular television show. Like, I have merged those lists, and Breaking Bad does sit at the top of my list of TV shows of all time. I think the writing on that show is airtight. I put Code Geass literally number 2 on that list, and that's a Japanese animation. And then I put Young Justice, which is an American animation show, underneath that. Do you guys view it the same way? Like, do you think that like over time, like the amount of anime you're consuming has just kind of taken over in terms of the quality of storytelling is so high that you have to rank it in places where it's like, yeah, on my list might be like the first season of True Detective, but also fucking
great show,
maybe
great
like
season.
Samurai Champloo, for example, might be something where it's like, wow, this is one that like, I also really enjoy, and I think that there's elements of it that like would somehow put it above, True Detective, or I have like a soft spot for Heroes season 1. I think is one of the best seasons of television. Like, how do you guys view it?
Man, that show fell from grace, bro. Heroes was so good.
That first season was unreal, but hey, man, save the cheerleader, save the world, and then fuck the rest.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's so funny because it's like at this point in my life, when I talk about lists and rankings, it's just like my own like personal favorites. I used to be in the world of, well, this kind of like ranks up there with, like you said, with like, oh, the first season of True Detective, where like I found myself in, but like by thinking like that and saying those things out loud, I found myself in like what first started as like healthy debates of just like, oh, I just like to talk about this content because I love it, but then it would just turn into toxicity of just like, well, it's actually not that great, and then I'd be like, well, I don't care if you don't think it's that great. I personally love it. I'm gonna keep watching. So like your opinion. So whenever now, like when I say like, oh, like you see this a lot in music. So whenever if I'm like, I think it could end up being one of my favorite albums to drop this year, like I'm not like saying like, I'm not opening up the door for me personally at this point. I'm not opening up the door of, oh, here's my ranking of like best albums of the year. I'm just telling you right now, I'm probably going to listen through this album like throughout the year. Like, it's not going to fall out of my rotation. Now, You probably hate it. That's cool. But I'm not going to debate if it's actually in the grand scheme of like musically, if people think it's actually great or not. I'm personally, when I go to the gym, I'm gonna turn it on. If I go in the car, I'm gonna turn it on. So it's like, I think for me, if I am doing it in that sort of like ranking system. It's more so to kind of like place it in terms of like how much I enjoyed it, you know, and how much I would go back to it. Like if I say, oh, you know, it was like, I can't think of a show that like I watched, I liked, but probably will never go back to it. But like, you know, I feel like for me, I have like personal categories that I'll pair the content with to kind of like, because usually if most people who I'm talking to about it, they know my tastes. And I might go in a little bit more in depth about it if they don't. But like, if I said to Matt, like, oh man, I'll say I love Hiei. He's up there with Future Trunks with me. Matt's not gonna interpret that as like, oh, he's not gonna start comparing the two characters. He just knows that, like, oh, I really fuck with you.
Yeah, those are his mans.
Yeah.
Nah, I feel that. Hey, I will say, I'm the same thought process as you guys. It's like I don't necessarily do the like, oh, my favorite animated movie versus my favorite movie. Like, movie is a movie and stuff like that. But kind of to what Trav was saying, there is like a weird toxicity thing I feel like we do with ourselves when we have rankings, because it's like, I don't know why, you know, us as like people, we're so uniform with stuff that it's just like, why can't I have a top 6? Why does it have to be a 5? But like we always like limit ourselves with like, oh yeah, top 5, and then it's like that 5th spot is usually in rotation. It's like, oh no, but I forgot such and such.
You keep interchanging it. Why can't you just add a 6?
Yeah, like it's an official list. Like fuck, I can't. I wish I could add one more. It's like I can. It's my list. Yeah.
Well, I gotta listen to a 6th thing.
Exactly. And then
fuck up my list.
If I'm gonna put 6, I might as well do 10.
Yeah, they're like the people who are asking these questions are like treating it like a fire, and they're like, you're going into your house and you're saving a part of your DVD collection. Like,
no, that's facts.
That's facts. Like, I'm grabbing a whole shelf, bitch. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
right.
No, matter of fact, I'm gonna try to put the fire out. That's what I'm about to try to do. Like, first instinct, save the house. That's my first instinct. But I will say to an example of what you're saying. Weirdly, I don't have it in like my 5 or 10. It probably would be in my 10, but it's not in my 5. But regardless of genre, I find that Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of like the best shows ever. Like, just done from start to finish. It's definitely, I would put that in top 10 like finales of all time. Like the last episode of Avatar, like where he takes on Ozai, or the last, those for like the ending of it, like in the big chunks.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
I haven't seen it in its entirety yet.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait.
You never finished Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Mm-mm.
That's crazy. I'm so excited for you now. Like,
I know, yeah. Since I have it, I definitely want to. I don't think Ali has watched it either, so that's gonna be like on our list of. Like,
that's awesome. That's
both of them. See, like I love Korra too.
I was gonna say this was a hot take, but I actually think I like Legend of Korra more than The Last Airbender. But they're both excellent shows.
So
when are they available on, by the way?
They're on Netflix.
Paramount.
Well, they were, but you know,
they
moved again.
They're on Netflix still.
Yeah, they were on. Yeah, all right, they're still on Netflix.
Okay.
But it's, you know what's funny, Mikey? Because I will say I'm kind of on the same line as you. Like, I feel like I liked Korra more, but I can acknowledge why people like Last Airbender more. Like, I'm not just like, nah, bro. Like, I'm like, yeah. Like, I could like I could be.
You're like, I can see it.
Yeah, like I can see why you would go with the OG, but it's like, but I really did love Korra, Legend of Korra. That shit was because it was grungy. Like, it was like Korra, a lot of like shit did not go her way. Yeah, shit did not go her way most of the time.
where Avatar: The Last Airbender is like, it's definitely like anybody can enjoy it. It is a little more targeted at kids, and there are some mature themes that happen as you get deeper into the show. Legend of Korra like starts.
That was some teen Nick shit. That was teen Nick. Yeah. That's what that was.
Like, Legend of Korra starts on that maturity scale way past where Avatar: The Last Airbender ended. Like, there is some fucked up shit that happens in Legend of Korra, even in season 1, where you're like, oh, okay, we're doing this. Like, we're taking some elements from the first show and turning it into like full-fledged storylines of, yeah, this isn't exactly okay.
You know what else?
A little not okay.
Yeah, not to go spoilery for so Trav can enjoy it in real time. But the thing that I think that I like that makes me like Legend of Korra more than the original Avatar Airbender, I love shows that are like a soft sequel or a direct sequel, or even movies or TV shows. I love when they show like what happens after the fairy tale ending. Like it would like I love when they show like, oh yeah, like what they did, like Star Wars, perfect example. Like, you know, the sequel trilogy, they undid all the good that the Rebel Alliance did in the original trilogy. You know, like the First Order took over and everything. And I like shit like that, where because it's like it does help me. Because, you know, we talk about, you know, fiction genre, like it's all about suspending disbelief. It's like letting me get outside of myself. But I be asking them questions, you know, like when the good guys win at the end. It's just like, all right, now what? Like, I'm so curious as to how they're gonna keep this piece now. What they think the bad guys just not gonna try to get their get back,
dude.
Exactly.
Like
so
it's gotta be. There's gotta be some turning point somewhere.
Like you're saying, like with Avatar: The Last Airbender, how like that show was definitely geared towards kids, and there is a lot of heavy shit that goes on. But like for the most part, you know, that show gives you hope. You know, like it makes you. It's a feel good show. But then like certain aspects of Legend of Korra where they were like going back and showing like, you know, what happened to the team Avatar as adults, and it wasn't all the best. I was like, no, that's reality. I like that. Like I like when shit ain't all, you know, smiles and sunshine, and you know, there's like because it adds depth to the character. Like, you know, if shit goes right all the time, that's not fun. Like, you know, and I feel like that was the formula for a lot of anime shows in the 90s, like the Pokemons, the Digimon, damn sure fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! They always let Yugi win. Like I say all the time, that one time where he lost the Kaiba and Duelist Kingdom, he started bitching and was about to retire from dueling. Man,
Yugi, if you don't let me win, I'll literally jump off this tower.
Yeah. I mean, and look, whatever you got to do, like, whatever you got to do to win.
But nah. So Mikey, if you had to pick your favorite DB4L episode out of all the ones that you mix and mastered, which one would it be?
Oh man, this is going to be a little difficult because we have quite a few good ones.
Yeah,
it's hard.
And this
not
is
to
and
say.
like and actually, you know what? You can just name a few, because I know whenever I get those sort of questions, like it's always tough to pinpoint one. But if you have one, sure. But if not, we'll let you just name some of the standouts.
It's tough not to say the Chris Sabat episode. That one's really fun. The Jason Douglas episode is also fantastic. I feel like that was like our first like really big Dragoncall.
I was gonna say that was the first of that's the gateway.
we like kind of like
the DBZ of DB4L.
Yeah, we like redefined what we were when we did that one. We even made new album art for it, and that has stuck to this day. So I really like that one. Oh man, ironically, the one. Some of our earlier ideas where like I think we'll find time to like make some of this other stuff, but like the Super Saiyan Blue Chew episode is like one of the most listened to episodes, and I wonder if it's just because of the title or not. Because that was just
we should just have like obscure Dragon Ball like references and just have like we should just have one off just like off the wall, off the tangent, just random ass episode. Yo, what would happen if you put Goku in the middle of World War III and stripped him of his power? Like, just something real stupid. Like,
well, I'm gonna fight all the Nazis. You're a really strong fighter, Germany, but
how have you been able to agree to do an episode with us and not be sick of our voices yet? Because I always been wondering, like,
nah, dude,
Mikey ever get sick of hearing me?
I feel like I'm in the room. I think what's funny is it's like you guys are having this conversation. My favorite thing, then no one ever really gets to hear this, but my favorite thing is when you guys talk to me about like things that you're like, all right, Mikey, do this, or like edit this out. And I'm like, yeah, I got you. Like, but like we're not actually talking.
Yeah, you're like, talking to us out loud.
Yeah. It's just this like
Ray's probably wondering like, Mike, you okay?
And then there's this element of you guys have recorded it. It may have been a week ago or 2 months ago that just turned in like, you know, our release schedule, and then I'll text you guys about something, and you guys will know exactly what like your reference was to me or about me, or if I'm like defending something that you guys were like talking shit on.
Yeah.
Like some of these, like, because I have some weird takes. Let's be real. Like they're not always.
Hey, we're all weird in our own right. It's what I say.
Yeah. So if there's, I think it's a running gag like in between us and our team that it's like I'll defend all the dub watchers. I do need to ask too, do you feel genuinely caught up to the Super manga from mixing and mastering all of our reviews? I do, but I feel like there's a piece of me that is missing the detailed nuances of the granola arc.
Yeah, because the thing about the granola arc is it just...
I was just gonna say, you guys did the whole arc in like 2 episodes, but it sounded like there was a lot of rehash. So
I know. Well, the thing that I've always said about the granola arc is that you're probably gonna enjoy it a lot more than we did. Of now that it's completely over, of just reading it straight through. But when you're reading it month by month, and it just feels like you know how with the Frieza saga, the Goku and Frieza fight like was forever.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that in the sense of like there was so like not like a lot happened, but at the same time not a lot happened, and it felt like fights would be going on for quite some time. And so as you're reading, it's like all right, but like if you read it in its entirety, you're probably like, oh, this is not that bad, it's probably cool. And like I'm sure whenever it gets animated, I'll probably enjoy it even more because some cool things happen within that arc. But I mean, you heard with the superhero movie too. I mean, yeah, superhero arc like that was trying to get through. That was painful.
Rough.
I've never
like
felt
they,
like
build this
Dragon Ball was ever a chore.
Yeah, it's like they built this like weird thing into Super. I don't think that Dragon Ball Z was ever like this. But they were like they knew they had to buy themselves time, right? Like, so they were just like, okay, so we'll make this movie and we'll tease it up in advance, and it'll be way outside the timeline of what we know, so that we don't have to worry about our current arcs interfering with it. But then we'll give ourselves a year to kind of like catch up and come up with some new fresh ideas. And I think they're just starting to get into that. But there's a lot of choices that they made that I know you and I have not agreed with, for better or for worse. But ultimately, I would say that Super is still an era of Dragon Ball that I'm enjoyed more than I've disliked. It's crazy how like,
and the thing,
go ahead.
No, keep going.
I was just gonna say, like, I think it's wild how like the Goku Black Arc probably would have been my favorite arc of the entire Dragon Ball universe had they not ended it so poorly. And it's weird how just like 2 episodes could take an arc that I enjoyed so much and make it like not as enjoyable. I don't remember it as fondly as I probably could.
I just remember watching the first episode, seeing like how it had like seeing future Bulma die. Trunks has to go back. I'm like, oh shit, all right, we got some suspense, we have real stakes, we got ourselves an arc. And like you said, I that hands down would have been my favorite arc, except for the ending. Like to this day, I still do not understand why that was the ending. Like, I really, really like don't understand it. Like, it was by far the worst ending that they could have had. Somehow, Matt, we did always found a way to get to the ending of the Goku Black Arc.
Every time.
Because we were saying how that would have been our favorite arc of Super had it not had that.
Oh, yeah, the ending fucked it up for everybody.
It was.
It's like the Game of Thrones of anime.
That was painful, man.
That was painful.
I'm
always take an opportunity to take a shot at at them guys.
I have a really
These
fun
guys.
Dragon Ball question for you guys. Is there like a subsection of the food world that they haven't taken names from yet that you're really looking forward to them like using? Like they already did like cereal and granola, like so what's left? And I personally think that pizza toppings is a very underdeveloped area of the Dragon Ball universe.
Okay.
So, like, maybe you have like a dueling fighters where they're Pepper and Roni, or like
we need soul food.
yeah.
Are there any
Super Saiyan yams?
Are there any Super Saiyan yams? Double entendre. Don't ask him how. Is there are there any fruit? Yeah. Are there any fruits? Are there any fruits in Dragon Ball? I know there's a lot of vegetables. Lots of vegetables. Do we have any fruits? I feel like
there's
there's
gotta be fruits.
I don't know.
Can we
I
move
don't
back,
feel like there's any.
back to the soul food thing? I feel like whatever character gets named Grits has to be like the hardest character in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Nah. You need a.
They gotta come from Future Trunks' timeline.
You need you need the big bruiser type villain. His name's gotta be Oxtail. He's big, big dude. The real big dude. Yeah.
So maybe get some like Creole influence in there, like a character called Gumbo, but have him be like
Hell yeah, Gumbo.
Derpy, like-
Gumbo gotta be big. Gumbo gotta be real big. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking like a
Oxtail, the
Yajirobe type
enforcer,
character.
saying.
Oxtail definitely the enforcer. You know what Gumball, like his thing is like when you hit him, like it's like Jello, like nothing happens, like nothing affects him.
Like
nothing.
Fat Boo, but like not as. Not
Or what was the yellow dude's name from I think it was Universe 6? Was it Bergamo or was Bergamo?
Bergamo.
Yeah, it's got to be Gumbo. Got to be like that, like nothing hurts him. Yeah, it's rubber. But saying it out loud, I don't think there are any fruits in Dragon Ball. So you got a whole untapped well.
I'm surprised they haven't. Yeah,
whole untapped well.
The Saiyans, they've just stuck with the vegetables.
Yeah, all the vegetables. Like, well, we could definitely get a grape in there. Get a grape. Get a like bananas. He's got to be crazy.
Yeah.
He's got to be crazy. Bananas has to be crazy. Johnny Bananas.
That is a really good one. So I played Xenoverse 2, and I'm like, because I'm a big Trunks fan, I was like, oh, I'll make my character like part of like the Trunks family tree, and I named him Joggers.
I love that.
Because it's like the type of pants I like to wear. So I was like, oh yeah, this works.
That does sound like that. I mean, that's about to be whichever version of Trunks and Mai has a kid first in his timeline. Yeah. So that's going to be their
well,
son.
If they steal my
they gotta get a dog and they gotta get a dog and name him Sweats.
Listen, I'm just saying I would like my royalties if that ends up happening.
Look, bro, just come get us. The writers' room for Dragon Ball. You know, Toriyama, Torotaro, just come get us. Spotify.
If their daughter's name is lingerie, then yeah, we need a check.
Facts. Big facts. Big facts. Well, what are we? We covered your music career. You know, we covered your Gias obsession. You know, we've talked about Annie, are you okay? Say the line.
A Star Wars podcast.
My guy. Is there anything about Sir Mikey Campbell that you would like to talk about that maybe we don't even know? Any likes and interests that you have buried deep down that you would like to share with the lifers?
Anything you want to leave us with?
Right.
That we should. Are you okay? Are you okay?
Right.
Like mentally, physically, like you are, as everything.
You know, like what Elmo say? How's everybody doing?
I just started therapy. Just a new venture.
Hey, let's go.
Snaps for that.
Snaps, definitely big snaps.
We're
snaps
working
for
on
that.
it. I have a really funny
that
story
for you.
about my therapist thinks I have a porn addiction. I do not.
We need context now.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
okay.
porn,
so
If you feel comfortable to share,
this story is hilarious, so I can't not share it. But like, I went into his office, a second appointment too. This is like early on in the therapy cycle, so we've had 3 appointments.
He said, "I ain't coming in shooting blanks. Don't you worry."
Double entendre. Don't ask him out.
So when I walked in, he had a sex addiction book on his desk, and I was like, "Huh, that's weird. I guess one of his patients has a sex addiction." and I made like an offhand joke about, because I'm there for my anxiety and depression. I'm not afraid to like talk about that. I would say it's much more anxiety than it is depression, but you know, it manifests in its own ways. And I made an offhanded like comment, and I think you guys know me generally. Like I can't help but like slip jokes into what I'm saying. So I jokingly made like a comment about like, oh yeah, I'm horny all the time, and he took that and ran with it.
Oh shit!
In a way where like all of his questions were like circling back to like, and he was like, yeah, and like instead of like watching porn, you did that instead. And I'm like, what are you trying to connect here, man? Like I'm.
What bridge are you trying to build here?
Yeah,
I didn't say that. I didn't.
Like,
say
long story
that.
short, it was the championship game weekend, and I was talking about how I was having a really hard time getting myself like motivated to do stuff that day, and eventually I just got to. I knew the football games were on, and I was like, well, at least I'm going to engage in something, even though both the teams I wanted to win lost. And he was like, yeah, and you know what? You watch that instead of watching porn, and I was like, okay. All right, this is like the third time you brought this up. And in reality, what he was trying to do is he was using that as an example for this exercise he wanted me to do in terms of like stressors and how we can like build up walls around them in terms of like protecting ourselves, but also coping with them at the same time. At the end of the session, I was like, this is really funny, but I get what he was, I like realized what lesson I was trying to learn that day, and like what exercise that I would need to do as like homework to better myself. But I'm not going to not go around telling people that my therapist thinks I have a porn addiction, because it's quite honestly hilarious.
That is
next time you have therapy, you have to like come up with a backpack and like leave like the little bit of the zipper pocket open, put a thing of Vaseline in there, and, like,
giant thing of Jergens,
and then like have that fall out. Oh, I'm sorry. Like,
super throwback, but I'm just gonna, when I get there, I'll be like, hey, I was just hoping I could pull like some things out and make me more comfortable, and I'll pull out like a GameCube and then a big black dildo. Are you guys familiar with that? From like, I think it was like an old Donald Glover sketch from like way back in the day.
So, let's start off with an exercise. I have some things.
You know what you got to do? Like at the end of your session, you got to like look at like the box of Kleenexes and be like, yo, you need those? Like, you can I get that? It's been such a trying day. Let me grab that box.
He said, yeah, you can take one. No, I need the whole box.
Yeah, and they're like, wait a minute.
As funny as this exercise has been in the past like minute or two, I did confront him about it in our next session.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
just to confirm.
I was like, I just need you to know
before he tries to treat you for some shit you don't got.
Yeah, I was like, first off, like I just want to address like this, and just so you know, out of defiance, I didn't jerk off for an entire week, so thanks. Luckily, he thought it was really.
I can't think of a much better.
But now the world knows
much better way to end it.
Yeah, that was
perfect. Look, man, DB4L, only place you can get therapy recaps about porn addictions. You can get sports bowl. What the fuck is the sports bowl?
Don't be one of those. Don't be one of those sports ball guys, Matt. Come on.
Look, man.
Go sports.
That's what you get when you hang around people that don't know about sports. Start using wrong references.
And we learned that Jesus has one hell of a retirement fund.
I don't think Jesus has a foot fetish, by the way. Like, for everybody who listens.
Never know.
I'm sorry, he'd have to be real to have a foot
man
fetish.
Didn't have shoes.
Facts. They definitely were light on shoes back then, so just out and about. Just out and about. Oh man. Well, Mikey, before we close this bad boy, let the people know how they can support, where they can find you, and all that jazz.
Well, you can absolutely support us by listening to Dragon Ball for Life on your favorite listening platform. You can also find us on Facebook at Dragon Ball 4 Life on Facebook, and then DB4L_pod on Instagram and Twitter. We are trying to be more active, we promise. Life is just busy, and we're grinding, as we said earlier. And you can find me and Matt over at Annie Are You Okay which is
a Star Wars podcast.
A Star Wars podcast. The social handles for that are ANIRUOK, the letters ANIRUOK, ANIRUOK pod on Instagram and Twitter, and we're not on Facebook, but that's okay because, in my opinion, Facebook's kind of a cesspool, especially for Star Wars fans. So we'll hang out on our side of the galaxy, and you guys can come visit. So
there you go. We'll leave the light on for you.
I do got to drop a few shout outs. Super huge shout out to Ray the Ruiner, my better half, my fiance, for allowing me to put so much of my time and effort into all of these things. Shout outs to Paul GT producer, who is going to be helping me and you guys deliver all this great content. Shout out to Yali for continuing to be the fuel behind everything in terms of, like guests we're booking, certain ideas and our endeavors outside the podcast. Shout out to Tay for being our social media guy and coming up with creative endeavors for us. Can't speak highly enough about them. I can't speak highly enough about you, Matt, you, Trav, for being not only amazing friends but my partners in crime in our podcast endeavors, and I couldn't do it without you. So I love you guys.
We love you, Mikey.
We love you too, brothers. Damn. DragonPaul GT is 1000% now his nickname.
Let's get it.
Name in my phone. It's official. DragonPaul GT.
Welcome to the Grand Tour, DragonPaul.
Yeah, I mean,
Grand Tour.
Well, my good brother Chad, I always love to give you the last words. If you have any wisdom you would like to bestow upon the masses.
I just want everyone to know, if you're ever struggling out there and you need to decompress, it's okay to sometimes to go to X Hamster to release that stress.
In moderation.
Yeah, don't get it.
Masturbation in moderation.
Masturbation in moderation.
That's the actual name of the episode. If Super Saiyan Blue Chew got us a lot of listens, then hopefully this one will too.
Hey, look, I'm here for it. Let's get it. Well, lifers, we call you guys the lifers because you quite literally put the L into DB4L, and we know that we can't build this spirit bomb without you. So lend us your energy by way of likes, subscribes, listens, 5-star reviews, follows on all the social media, and all that jazz. And the easiest way to do that is by clicking the all-powerful link tree of might in the episode description below. But like we always say here in the Palace of Nerddom, the home of the new nerd world order, whether you watch it or you read it, we all need it. So open up your nerd eye, and we will see you next time on Dragon Ball for Life. Dodon Ray. And he's here, but shout out to super producer Mikey.
Hey, Mikey.
And Dragon Ball GT.
And shout outs to Yali.
All
caps. Inte.
You guys are nerds.
Oh, wait.
Dodon.
Hey.
Bah.